Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to Manflow Yoga. In this video, I am going to make a confession. I'm going to talk about my struggles with being consistent with my workouts. So despite me dedicating my life to fitness, despite being a lifelong athlete and working out every week and doing Manflow Yoga, this is what I do full time. I still have struggles with being consistent with my workouts. That being said, I've made a few tweaks. Well, one tweak in particular, and a few ways of doing this, in the past few months that have led to me being much more consistent with the workouts, and I'm going to share them with you here in this video. So before I get started, make sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. If you like any of what I'm saying here, hit the like button. It's a huge help. Leave me a thumbs up. So here's what I'm going to cover in this video. First off, I'm going to talk about my struggles with working out consistently, with following along to my workout plans. I'm also going to talk about the typical failed experience that I had. So what would it look like when I write up a plan and then eventually start doing it or stop doing it a week later. I'm going to talk about that one tweak that I made and some different ways of how I did that, 3 ways in particular, and how I enacted that tweak. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about how I've been more successful with the plan, and that kind of goes back to October 2019. So it's been about 4 months of doing this, and I've been, or just 3 months, and I've been really happy with the results. So here we go. We're gonna get started talking about my typical experience. So again, this is my life. Fitness is my life. I've worked out consistently since I was probably 5. I played soccer, I swam, played lacrosse, I did football, baseball. I wrestled at some point, played floor hockey. I had a brief stint in free running and gymnastics. I've done CrossFit, yoga, weightlifting, bodybuilding, you name it, I've probably done it. So I'm very movement focused, I'm very exercise focused. But despite that, I had problems with sticking with my workout plan. So here's what usually happened. I would get really inspired. Either I saw a video on YouTube, I would see a YouTube account, or I would just, whatever it was, I would see something that inspired me to want to kind of rededicate myself to fitness or go after certain fitness goals that I wanted to work on. And so here was my process for doing this, and I think it's pretty awesome. I still do this. But what I would do is I would sit down and I'd write out a few things. First off, I'd write out why I wanted to do this. Why do you want to follow this new workout program? Why is it important to you? What are some specific issues that you want to address? So I talk about, well, I want to get rid of knee pain during this particular exercise, or I want to get rid of this recurring shoulder pain, or I want to be able to do push-ups every day. And then I'd write some specific components of that. So what are the actions that I would take to fulfill those goals? How often would I do push-ups? How often would I do pull-ups? What are all the different exercises that I would include? And then after doing that, I'd put them all together into a day-by-day plan. And I'd get super excited for it. I'd go to bed, usually it was that Sunday night or maybe a Monday night when I would go to bed, really motivated. And I'd wake up the next day and I'd do my workouts. And then by the time I got to day 4, I had somehow modified day 3 because I was feeling really sore from the second day's workout. And then by the time it got 2 or 3 weeks later, I probably wasn't even following the workout plan anymore because it wasn't something that I could sustain. So if this is you, you're not alone. This is a very common thing that happens when it comes to making workout plans. We're usually overly ambitious. We try to write out too much, and that leads to us not following the plan. So I finally got smart and decided to make a big tweak to my fitness program. Instead of me assuming that I had the strength and endurance of a professional athlete, instead of taking inspiration from workouts, from workout plans that I was finding in whatever it was, maybe a bodybuilding magazine, or maybe it was some fitness influencer or something like that. Instead, I scaled back my expectations, and this is the big tweak that I made. I scaled back my expectations, and I did this in 3 different ways. So consulting my notes so I don't miss anything. But the first thing that I did in scaling back my expectations, I made the focus on consistency instead of intensity. So instead of making the goal try to destroy your body with this one workout or try to get back into shape in just 2 weeks of working out, the goal became I just want to make my workouts happen consistently. I want to make sure that I'm exercising or doing resistance training on my own 3 days per week. I want to make sure that I'm doing yoga on my own 3 days per week, at least 3 days per week, and then also throwing in some evening and morning routines as needed. But I just want to make sure that I'm being consistent. And to do that, the first big tweak that I made, scaling back my expectations, was just doing one exercise per workout. Now, this might seem crazy. This might seem completely against traditional exercise advice. I think most exercise programs recommend 5 to 8 exercises per workout. But I just wanted to get back into the habit of actually doing resistance training regularly. So I made my goal to do one exercise, and anything beyond that was extra credit. So a typical workout for me, I would say I'm gonna do squats today. So I would do my 10-minute warm-up, I'd do some dynamic stuff, I'd do some yoga, I'd do some muscle activation stuff, and then I would do 3 sets of squats, 3 or 4 sets of squats. And then after that, maybe I would do some pull-ups, maybe I would do some sort of pulling exercise. But if all I had energy for, if all I had time for, or the motivation to do was those squats, then that would be all that I did. And this kind of leads perfectly into the second way, or the second strategy I used to scale back my expectations. And this was making it okay to skip workouts, or basically giving myself permission to skip workouts. And there's a reason for this. There's a reason why skipping your workouts is actually okay, and why it's actually more beneficial than pushing through all of your workouts. So if you push yourself through every workout, if you do your workout no matter what, if you're feeling sick that day, if you didn't sleep all the night before, if you have maybe it's a nagging joint issue that you're dealing with, if you push yourself through that, you're actually making your gains less significant. You are actually hurting yourself over time. So me skipping a workout was acknowledging, hey, you're not feeling up to your workout today. We're gonna do something else instead. You're still gonna do some sort of movement. Maybe you'll go on a long walk. Maybe you'll do some restorative yoga. Maybe you'll do stuff with lighter weights. Maybe you'll just do some stretching or foam rolling. But you're gonna skip your workout today, and I'm giving myself permission to do that because I know that in the long term, it's going to help me, as opposed to pushing myself through that workout, and it would probably end up hurting me and making it so that I'd have to skip even more days of workouts that week. And then the third tweak that I make was I started to do more supplementary workouts. And these are kind of like, I would say these are half workouts in a way. So these are where I would focus on particular weaknesses that I wanted to address. So this is when I would do stuff like rotator cuff rehab exercises. It would do stuff that was not compound movements. So instead of doing squats or deadlifts, I would do something like leg slides. So that's where you put your foot on the ground and you squeeze your foot in toward your hip. But the point is, the example is not important. The point is, I would do more supplementary exercises, and these would usually take 30 minutes. I could do them with minimal equipment. I could even do them while I was sitting in the living room watching TV with my wife. So there were it was really easy to work this in. It didn't take a ton of effort, and I could do it in just about 30 minutes. So combined, when I did this, it was a workout program that was much easier to follow. It was much more sustainable. And by scaling back my expectations and starting small, I was able to build on that. So now I'm doing usually 4 exercises per workout. I'm consistently doing at least 3 workouts per week, sometimes 5 workouts per week. I feel a lot better. I also give myself permission to skip workouts when I know I don't feel great. And then the other part of this is if I don't feel up to doing 4 or 5 exercises, the goal going into the workout is just make sure you do 1 or 2 exercises. So I'll go into a workout saying today I'm gonna do squats and pull-ups, and that's it. Anything beyond that is extra credit. So by scaling back my expectations, I'm able to be more consistent, and I've actually had a lot more success with my workout programs. I'll probably post some kind of before after photos of what I looked like last summer, so 2019 summer, and what I look like now. And I've actually put on a lot more muscle. I feel a lot stronger in my shoulders, my arms, and my legs are a lot stronger. And I'm recovering so much more quickly now that I've gotten used to exercising consistently. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I think most of us have this same conundrum. I don't know why I said conundrum, but I think most of us have the same issue. We tend to expect too much of ourselves in the short term, when instead we should be thinking about this for the long term, because ideally we don't just want to do a workout program for 2 weeks and then go back to what it was like before. We want to do our workout programs we want to make them a part of our life. We want to make them something that we do for the next few decades, something ideally that we do until we die. And we don't do that by setting expectations too high and then failing. The much better way to do this is by setting a low expectation, getting into that habit of being consistent, and then slowly building from there as needed. So make sure you subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet, because I am going to be putting out more videos on this topic. I'll also be talking more detail about what my current workout program looks like. So I'll give you an actual look at the day-to-day over a few weeks. What has my workout program been? I actually write down all my workouts in a little journal I have called my workout log. If you don't do that, I highly recommend doing it. It's a great way to hold yourself accountable. So make sure you subscribe. I'll be putting that video out over the next couple of weeks. We also put out great content every week, and it's all focused on how can we live a healthier lifestyle. How does yoga fit into that? What is manful yoga, and how does it differ from other types of yoga? How can you get stronger using manful yoga? How can you learn more about the technique, learn more about proper muscle activation, active mobility? Anyways, it's just a great resource, and I hope you subscribe, and I hope to see you again on a video. And lastly, if you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. It's a huge help. All right, guys. See you in the next video, and thanks for watching.